Album Quest Day 16. You already know what it is, unless you don't. In which case, Album Quest is where I challenge myself to listen to one new album for every day of 2024. I finally got back on track, and it's with an album that came out this year, our second one of the year. We got American Dream by 21 Savage. And this, admittedly, is my first solo album from 21 Savage. I've only ever heard him in features or especially on Heroes and Villains from 2022. And, I've heard I didn't really go in knowing much other than, it's a trap album, because that's just the music that he makes. And I guess it's about, him being British, I guess. It's decent. I'll give it that. The spoken word track about his mom at the beginning and also at the end, I think sets a good stage. And All of Me is definitely one of the strongest tracks on the album to start out with, and really sets the precedent for how all of these songs on this album have some awesome samples. Really, the sampling on this album is definitely the highlight. We're returning back to the chipmunk soul type of style that Kanye West pioneered back in the early 2000s, and just putting trap on it and getting 21 Savage's kind of darker sounding vocal on there. And for the most part, it works pretty great. Issue is that it's not very consistent. I think the tracks that are best on the albums, on this album at least, are the ones where he switches it up. So All of Me, Let It to My Brother, Dangerous, Red Sky, except for the one where he starts doing R&B. Drake is ruining another generation of rappers. I'm glad that he's trying to branch out into singing, but I would rather he change the production and the style and maybe the flow instead of trying to be Drake. I know, I think it is not a bad album. I'll give it that. But it's not something I would really want to revisit all the time. Like I said though, Let It to My Brother is actually really probably my favorite track on there. It's you can tell that's one of the most emotional tracks on here. Dangerous. This is probably the best Lil Durk feature I've ever heard on any song, including his own original stuff. It's actually pretty surprising how good that one is. Nena. Travis gets on there and makes it sound like 21 is the feature, which is kind of crazy. And I think Red Sky got some kind of weird cinematic shit going on that actually sounds pretty good. But there are some stinkers, including there's a bar where he said, I don't even remember the full thing. What was it? Smell bad. I think someone pooped. One of the worst bars I've ever heard. There's also some pretty bad songs. Just Like Me is kind of bad. Shoulda Wore a Bonnet is pretty bad. I don't really like NHIE or Sneaky or Pop Yo Shit. But I think this 3-track run in the middle is actually pretty nice. And then the ending and the ending and the beginning also, and it's just the stuff that's in between is not really the best. That's just my opinion though. I give this album a 4 out of 7. It's decent. Already went over my favorite songs, so if you have any recommendations for albums I should listen to, leave them in the comments below. I read them all. I'm always looking for more stuff to add to my list and really grow my horizons. And I will see you on day 17 of Album Quest. Bye-bye.